And I'll change my,
Order to come in. There we go. Oh, and someone else coming. Now we don't have just gentlemen anymore. Hi there. Can you hear us? Sipati?
Hi, Rhonda. Yes, I
Hi.
can.
Fine.
How are
Nice,
you?
nice to see you. Are you going to
Yeah.
be on camera today or not?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, you are. Okay. Very
I'm
good.
in the car.
Oh, all right.
I'm in the
Wonderful.
car. I'm at my child's school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So maybe
that's
I'll be on and off.
okay. No, that's fine. Just so we know
Yeah.
how to expect you. And this is wonderful that you're joining us. We really appreciate that. This is being recorded. And we are doing that because we will be putting these up on the YouTube channel we have for Midwise Alliance. And we're also doing this so that our wonderful AI friends at Fathom can look at everything that's going on and hopefully give us some additional good ideas besides the ones that we come up with today. So I'm only going to talk for about 10 to 15 minutes and just share some basic things with you to get us started. And after that, I will open up the floor for us to all speak. So let me just share my screen for a moment. And you all let me know if you can see a nice presentation with a nice group of people on the front.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, very good. Excellent. Because I can't see you anymore now, but you all know how that works with Zoom. So we are so happy that you decided to join us today and become part of the Midwise Alliance. Some of you already are. Some of you know a lot about this. We've had discussions. Some of us are newer to this, but the Midwise Alliance is a place that I've had come out of my heart and have been working on for quite some time, that is there to make sure that the wisdom in the middle of society, all of us here and many, many millions of other people who are thoughtful and reflective and really want to share their insights with people, but they don't make the headlines, or they don't have 1.2 million viewers on YouTube or something like that. But there is so much wisdom and so much experience and so much that they can add to the world. And the Midwise Alliance is going to be a place to do that. So today it's just an introduction and an invitation to you to co-create with us. So the whole question is, why are we doing this in the first place? Well, first of all, we don't want this to be something, as I said, I don't want to be talking forever, and I love the rule of three. So we're here to be doing three things today. And those things are, just of all, for me to give the introduction, and then to see what these six sectors are and the vision. And then there will be lots of time at the end for all of us to talk about what else needs to be happening. What are your great ideas that you'd like to add in? Because as I said, we're doing this to make sure that this is a co-created objective and not just for one person. So this is what we call our guiding principle. The classic thing about having a guide, something I've been calling myself for many, many years. But in this case, the principle is that we're using natural and human and artificial intelligence together. This comes partly from the fact that I grew up on a dairy farm in Pennsylvania in the US. So in my younger years was always surrounded with natural intelligence everywhere. Human intelligence is what I share with all of you. Wherever we've met in the past or whatever we've discussed, there's always this wonderful interaction that's going on between humans. And now for more and more of us, artificial intelligence is coming into our lives and starting to play a role. And so using these three kinds of intelligence, the alliance is there so that we can create clarity for each person, confidence to make sure that when we speak to each other and work on things together, that we have a good way of making sure that we communicate well, and co-creation. We're not doing this for one person or one idea. This is to make sure that everybody is involved. And that's why we are also having this here in the session. So as I have envisioned it so far, the Alliance has six sectors, if you will. If you've read my emails, we've talked about this as a town or a village. We've talked about this as an airport. We've had various metaphors to work on this. But the point is, each of these six sectors has a specific purpose. And there are different ways then for people to interact and contribute both to the Alliance and to other people in the Alliance and to themselves, but also a way for us to make sure that the exchange that we have of the wisdom that we bring and the connection, that in the end, we actually go out and make a bigger impact in the world, much bigger than any of us could make individually on our own. So now we have each of the 6 S's. And this is important because, as I said, my original idea was like this being in a town or in a village. And if you live in some kind of a town or city or village, you know that if there's not structure to the whole thing, somehow their interactions don't work well. So the structure is sort of like the city hall. It's where everything happens to keep things organized and to keep things running. In our case, that means that it's the mission and the manifesto. Is it the ethics and the values that we bring to this? And it's not about being bureaucratic. It's not that kind of a city hall. It's about making sure that everyone can be aligned and that we all know what we're talking about and that we know what to come back to if we have a question. The next one is share. This was the original reason that I started with this idea a long, long time ago. Sharing is that thing that I think we as humans do better than virtually any other kind of element in the world, because we have so many things that we like to share because we are creative and because we look for different ways to express ourselves. If you go into a town, for example, and you find a postcard or you find a little package for someone, the first thing you would do is go off to the post office and send it so you could share whatever this was that you found. The share sector is going to be exactly like that. It's going to be a place where people can share, first of all, in writing. So it's going to be called Scriberion. And it has to do with what is happening both with natural and human and artificial intelligence, but in that giving people the opportunity to speak and write about those things in a way where they would like to share their insights. The second one is called Vocurion. Some of you have heard me talk about this before. This is sort of a reverse podcast idea. I've spoken to so many wonderful people who are totally afraid of being on a podcast, but I say there's no reason to be afraid, because if people come to the podcast and I'm officially the host, but they ask the questions, then they can be prepared for what's coming up and their views come out because it's what they want to talk about. And I'm just there to support the process. And the third part is the part that in our negative world today that really makes me feel good about the future is what we're going to have Fascinion. This is a place for people to talk about their aspirations, to look at how we can share things that we would like to see in the future, which are things that we don't have yet, but a place that we can do this together. And when we bring our wisdom and our co-creative value, then we can hopefully go through and take these aspirations and bring them to life. The next one is search. I'm not sure how it is for all of you when you're doing things, especially online. You think you want to work on something, you have an idea, but you know, just as I have with this, that I can't do it all by myself, but I don't know exactly where to look for people. And in the old days, before we did things online, we often went to networking meetings where you could put up a little piece of paper on a board that told what it was that you could offer people. And then there was another board where you could find out what other people are looking for. And there would be a chance to sort of match people together. And so to find mentors, to find other people to cooperate with, to find people to work on a business idea with you, we thought it was important to have a search component where people can put up their profiles and have the opportunity to find other people that they would like to work with and cooperate with. Then we come to the fourth one, which is solve. This is the one closest to my heart because I love facilitating. I love collaborating, as I have in the past, with all of you in some way, shape, or form. The classic thing with workshops, my format, which is called Success Swarms, finding ways to bring people together to build the solutions or to work on innovations for the world that are helpful. It's what happens when something goes wrong in a town and everybody comes together in the town hall and they sit and have a big meeting and discuss whatever the topic is. It's something very similar to that, so that people come together and we collaborate on something to solve someone's problems, whether it's one person in the group or whether it's possibly something for the whole world and everything in between. Then we have the next part, which is sustain. The most important thing about this is I want this to become something that goes long beyond just you and me or a few people. If this is going to become global, which is what I would love to have it become, we need to have this be a marketplace where everything is done in an equitable and a fair way. So we have come up with a system based on what the World Bank has decided and has divided the world into 4 different segments with countries according to their buying power. And we're setting up a tokenization system so that when people come in to buy things, they will be paying based on the amount of money that they have available to be doing that, and not always the same price for everyone. This is, if you will, the bank. This is the place where financial things happen, but it will also be the place where anybody who wants to have a market stand, as you would at a regular market, where you can sell your products or your services, will be able to do that, but will be added into this tokenization system so that everybody in the world can come to the platform and see what it is that there is to offer, and everybody will be able to afford those things that they're interested in. We want this to be sustainable. We want this to be something that many people in the world don't have access to certain things yet, and we want to make sure that this works, because that's the way how we're globally going to make sure that value circulates. And the last one is spread, meaning spread the idea. I don't know about where you live, but my hometown has a sister city or a twin city, some people call it, relationship with a town in France. And we have exchanges where French people come and stay with us, and we go to France and stay with them. And we find out more about their town, and we do things together to show how we can look at things in a similar way. And that's exactly what should happen in the spread. It's getting the word out through partnerships like affiliations or joint ventures, anywhere where we can get people together, because this isn't something just for those of us in the group, but this is something where we should be able to extend your wisdom also out to other people. And being an online platform, this is something that can happen very, very easily to make sure the wisdom is shared with everyone. So you're going to say, well, Rhonda, why is this different from other things that already exist? And I know there are millions of things that exist, some of which I know, some of which were mentioned yesterday that I had never heard of. That's one of the reasons for us coming together. But if you look at the picture here, you see on the right-hand side, there's this little paper boat, which is fairly big and standing there by itself. I see much of what's happening in the world at the moment, that there are certain figures that are taking up a lot of space, both themselves and in the online world and in media and in all these places. And they're sort of this extreme end where it's this big, wonderful thing and everybody's trying to have the most whatever. On the other end, we see the places in the world where people say, oh, those poor people, they don't have anything, their country is at war, or there's been a natural catastrophe or something, and everybody feels sorry for those people. And we have 2 ends, if you will, of society that a lot of focus happens on, for good reasons and not so good reasons, perhaps. But guess what? All of us who are here in the middle, all of us who are here really carrying the way society works, we're not making, as I said, millions of viewers on YouTube, or we're not the people who are speaking loudest, and so the media picks up on us all the time. We're not the people who are so visible and showing ourselves off in the world. We're the people who are quiet, the people who reflect on things, the people who have so much lived experience and so much wisdom to share. And therefore, this is a platform not for somebody to be loud, not for somebody to show off, but to show that the wise people in the world have a place to be seen and to be heard. So in the end, it comes down to what we would like to be getting out of this. That for individual people, they can find the clarity that they need, number one, themselves, with the things that they have access to on the platform, but also the fact that they will learn so much from all the other wise people on the platform that they get more clarity for what it is they're doing. The minute people start interacting with each other, the idea of sharing wisdom, which for people who are quiet or reserved or introverted is often very, very difficult, this will help build confidence. And those personal interactions that people have will make it easier for those people to put their wisdom out into the world. And when we sit down together and co-create things, we are improving the entire society. And notice I'm using the word society and not community. In my opinion, a community is a group of people who are all more or less interested in one thing. I see this as a very much a societal thing. If you live in a town, there are people who are interested in sports, there are people who are interested in culture, there are people who are interested in, I don't know, services. All of those things make up a society, and each of them has its own place, and nothing says that everybody has to do all of those things. I don't go to local soccer matches, for example, but a society is in a place where all of these things run in parallel and people get to choose what they would like to be involved with. And that's exactly the way this should work. Our hashtag, to remind us again, is that we're talking about natural intelligence, human intelligence, and artificial intelligence. You may have seen this on LinkedIn. That's our hashtag, made with NIHI and AI. So what we're here to do today, besides giving you this first insight into what's happening, is to find out more from you about the things that you've heard today that you like, all the things that are missing that I haven't thought of yet or haven't heard from anyone else in a discussion, and what it is that you would like to see in the Alliance and how you think this could be helping people, helping you yourself, helping your business if you have one, helping the way that you interact with other people in the world. And so that's what I've come to ask you for. And we will have the next few minutes, as long as you would like to take, for you to ask questions or to share your ideas or to reflect with others. And that's the whole point of this, to co-create the wisdom. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen so we can all see each other. I think that's very important. And if you would like to speak about something, that's fine. If you would prefer, if you're not in a place to speak, that you would like to write in chat, feel free to do that as well. We'll be saving the chat. And I'd love to entertain any questions or any ideas that you'd like to share. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. Thank you for your explanation. That was very good. Yeah.
Yeah. What are your first reactions, Ian?
I would say, like, I've been looking for partners, like who I can trust. I think that's all that matters first. Like, there are a million connections out there, even on LinkedIn, but that doesn't mean anything in many senses. Like, I cannot trust everybody, right? Like, so I think this. I think this could be the one of the best places for a society where I can find the trustworthy partners, and I would like. I mean, I can tell, like, I love, like, people, like, kind of well, I mean, wise people, like guys, like usually young people, they are like very like self-oriented, like I find it hard to work with them, collaborate with them. Like, I try to help them a lot, but they always come and go, like, because they get confused, they get distracted, they usually just follow like money or someone like just powerful, like. But I usually admire people who have a lot of experiences like you guys. So I think in that sense, I think the advice and the trustworthy people like that, hopefully I could get connected to more trustworthy people. So I think that's why I'm here. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ian. That's a wonderful value to be putting out in front. I'd like to say hello to, is it Stephanie? Stephanie, can you say something?
I'm
Hi.
here, yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the invitation. Thank you so much that I can join. I'm sorry I'm not here with my video on. I'm yeah, not in a place to put on my video currently, and I was only able to follow half of your presentation, so I didn't.
That's fine. You will be having, first of all, I will be sending the video to you, all of you today after we finish, but this will also be available on YouTube if you would like to show it to anybody else on Thursday when we've had all 3 sessions. Yeah.
Amazing.
Stephanie, have we met before? Since I can't see you, I'm not sure if I know which, I know too many Stephanies.
We have met virtually,
Virtually.
and I asked you, I connected with you due to the new organizational theory on reinventing organizations. That
Yes.
was the header, and then you connected me with the person who has this community on organizational theory.
Wonderful. And now I know who you are. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. So, anyone else have any ideas or questions or comments they'd like to share? As I said, if you prefer to write, you can also do that in the chat if that's easier for you. This is your time.
I think if I can say
Yes,
something,
please, Charles. Yeah.
I think Ian's value that you mentioned of trust is a good one to start off with, really, because it seems to me that the way that you've pitched this, the way you've explained your concept, is to do with, in a way, a reaction to extremes of, on all sorts of different issues. There's people gathering big followings by taking an extreme position one way or the other on lots of issues. And as we all know, that tends to gather attention, more attention often than it deserves in social media and, well, all sorts of media. So extremes are really something that one should automatically distrust. It begs a lot of questions. We need to really decide what we mean by extremes, because that's for all of us, extreme, the way we would describe extremes is something that people that don't agree with us, really. So we say they're extreme that way, and then if they don't agree with us in a different way, we say they're extreme that way. So I think it's a difficult concept, actually, this idea of extremism, or the idea of being in the middle. Maybe the middle means something different, but to me it means being between and not part of extreme positions in any direction, not just 2 directions, any multiple directions. So we're not extreme. But what does that really mean? Does it mean automatically that we're more trustworthy? I'm not quite sure about that. It means that perhaps there's there's less to distrust if we're moderate. But again, what does that mean? I find myself a little bit confused about where we're sitting here and what holds us together. Maybe it's trust. It's building trust. I suspect that it needs a bit of time for this to emerge, for what holds us together to emerge. So, and I'm not totally sure that I can say, I would describe myself as certainly not extreme in all the big issues of which people take emphatic points of view. But is that really the case? I don't know. It's just my view, really. Other people may I may give them a range of my opinions, such as I have them, and people may say, wow, you're really extreme. I don't know, really. I don't find that's my experience, but I've never really found that's my experience. But then, in one's lifetime, one only talks sincerely and in detail to a very limited number of people. And we all tend to be in little bubbles. And maybe my bubble is one where we normalize our views. So I feel that I am in the middle. Do I feel I'm wise? I don't know, but maybe, I've accumulated as much wisdom as most people do in over the years. But I'm not absolutely sure I can logically, I can rigorously defend that. Can I prove that I'm wise? I don't know. Can I prove that I'm in the middle? I don't know. Do I know that any of the other ones of you are both of those things? I don't really know. I suspect, because I talked to you a lot, Rhonda, that your views are fairly compatible with mine. But you know, that's are we in the middle of any big debates? I don't know. Probably we are. I mean, I can think of a few we might be. But so I think our knowledge is fairly sketchy, really, at the moment. So I think that's fine by me. I'm happy to explore and see where we are. But do we really need to explore each other's views to see where we are, that we're wise? I don't know. Are we alarmed when we disagree and think, my goodness, we can't both be in the middle if we're disagreeing strongly on some particular issue? So I'm not being at all negative. I'm just unsure where we kick off on this one, really.
Mhm. I have an idea of what I'd like to say to that, but I would love to have others be able to respond first if they would like to, or say something else, and then I'll come back to you, Charles, just to make sure everybody has a fair chance to say what's on their mind. Amma, were you going to say something? Can you unmute? Okay, great.
I was just, I've come here to sort of explore what it's all about. So I'm not really holding a view and opinion about anything other than just, oh, well, isn't it interesting we're here together and what does that look like? So I don't have much to say right now in terms of that, because I'm wanting to listen and understand, like, in a way, what the value proposition is. And I think you've outlined it and thought about it in great detail, you know, so that's a framework. And then I'm just seeing, well, where do I or we, or, you know, where do I slot in a way, you know? So that's as much as I can say right now. Yeah.
We appreciate that. Thank you very much. Ladies, anything else you would like to add? Either if you can't speak, you can also do it. Oh, you can speak, Sebasti. Okay.
I just wanted to say, like the previous speaker, I wanted to learn more about this idea of yours,
Mhm.
because I'm your follower. So it popped on my calendar, and hence I'm here.
Mhm.
And I'm looking forward to actually learning more about what you intend doing.
Mhm.
Maybe we can replicate and do the project in South Africa.
Mhm.
Yes.
Love to
Thank
do
you.
that. And as I said, this should happen globally. So it doesn't matter whether you're in South Africa or in Korea or in Germany or anywhere else. That's one of the wonderful things about the way the world is working today, that we can be in, all of us can be in so many different places and still be gathered here, which is extremely important. And it's important, I think, for us to be including people from as many different places as possible, because not only does each person bring a different kind of wisdom, but each culture also brings a different kind of wisdom. And I think putting us together in one place gives us the opportunity to explore those things that maybe some of us have never had the chance. If I hadn't, until last year, if I hadn't been to South Africa, I couldn't have said so much about that, but there's so much to learn from each of us who's from a different country, or the experiences we've had with other countries as well. And I think that is something that our world needs, because with all of the forces at the moment that are trying to put people apart, I think we need more things that are bringing people together, not only to share what I'm calling the wisdom from the middle, but just making sure that people have a chance to find out more about each other and find ways to do things together instead of being at each other's throats all the time, which unfortunately a lot of the big media and certain governments in the world are very, very good at doing. So I think it's a time for us to be on the other side of the pendulum, if you will, that we're the ones who are trying to make sure that people come together and that we do something for the good of each other, but also for the good of the world. And we have all these wonderful opportunities now with the 3 kinds of intelligence to do this in a way we could have never done it before. And that's why I think this is such an appropriate time to be starting this and to make sure that it gets leveraged, so that as we go forward as a world. And there are many places like this online. I'm not saying that this is the only place anybody could be, but for me, this is what I've been called to do in the world. And I'm so happy that you're all here and are willing to support me on this and to help us really co-create what it should look like. I don't want this to be my baby. I want to help get it started. I'm calling myself, my role in this, I'm calling myself the Patrona of Possibilities. I just want to make things possible for other people and all different kinds of things, which is why the 6 different sectors. It's not just one thing, it's many different things. And I want people to be able to engage with the platform in a way that works best for them. Thank you for your heart, Stephanie. So does anyone else have a question or another idea that nobody has said yet that we would like to make sure we have as something in the back of our minds as we're going forward? As I said, I'll be taking the input from yesterday's session and today's, and there's one more session tomorrow. And we'll be putting all of that together and making sure that you get a report on where we stand at the moment and how things could be going forward. Someone asked me yesterday about how this is going to be set up. I have applied for e-residency, electronic residency in Estonia. And I am waiting for the response, but we're within the regular time, so I think that that's not a problem. And the reason that I've done that is I live in Germany. My current business is based in Germany. But if we really want to have something global, and at some time I'm no longer in the business, I would never want any of you have to run a business in Germany. It's not a good idea as far as all the legalities and the taxes and everything else. So I looked at many, many options before I decided this. And I said, the wonderful thing about Estonia is the 3 million people who live in Estonia. There are 120,000 e-companies based in Estonia where the people do not live in Estonia, meaning all of us, if you would all like to be shareholders in the company at some point, you can all do that just by making an application and saying you would like to be an e-resident. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to do anything. And the entire company will set up so that everybody in the world has access to the company in whatever way, shape, or form people would like to be involved. And as far as I could see from what I have done, the research I've done, this is the only place in the world that really offers this. This is the only country in the world where you can do everything in the country digitally, everything. And they have had e-companies since 2014. So they already have a long history of this. And that means they're very established, and the systems that we need to work with this are very, very well done. So this is the reason why the company will be registered in Estonia with a European Union value-added tax number and all of those things, an Estonian one, and all of the business opportunities and everything to do with legalities, taxes, accounting, etc., will all take place in Estonia as a neutral place. And the nice thing is, none of us live in Estonia. So there's nobody that has any kind of an advantage or anything. I worked in Estonia when they left the Soviet Union in 1992. Wonderful people. I really enjoyed my time there, and feel this is a good place for us to have the structural background we need to make it equitable, so anybody who wants to join is able to do that.
Oh, that sounds interesting. Sounds rather good idea, Rhonda, by the sound of it. And they do a lot of work in with values in Estonia. It's
Yes.
very, very much in the forefront of all aspects of the society there, as I understand it.
Well, if you realize that Estonia separated themselves from the Soviet Union by having singing as their way to make the split, something that's close to my heart because I'm musical, but they didn't stand up and have a protest and march through the streets, as you know that from many other places you've probably seen on the news or whatever. They have special outdoor concert domes all over Estonia, and they went there and sang. And they sang their way to freedom, if you will. So for me, this very peaceful, this very energetic, everybody coming together and making sure that the things happen that need to be happening was something that I absolutely loved all the way back in 92 when I was there for a month and worked with the people there. And as I said, they've just progressed so well and done so many things, not only for their own people, but as I said, now for people all over the world to have this opportunity for an e-company, that I thought that was something that was worthwhile supporting, and that any of you, if you would like, would also be able to come and be part of.
Rhonda, what's the financial model then?
Say the financial, I missed a word.
So what's the financial model? You know, like
The financial, the financial model is those people who set up a market stand, quote unquote, yeah. So they want to sell their company's services or products on the platform. They will be selling whatever it is that they sell. And the only thing that they will have to adhere to is they will be paying a slight commission to the platform. I mean, all kinds of platforms have this, so this is a very normal thing to keep the platform running. But the other thing is that there will be this token system, so that when people buy tokens, if I buy tokens and I pay $1 or €1 for a token, somebody in South Africa will not be paying $1. There will be levels, so that if I pay $1 for something and the next level pays 60 cents and the next level pays 40 cents and the next level pays 20 cents, everybody will be buying tokens. To the outside, it will all look the same, no matter who we are, but the system in the background will know where people are coming from, and they will pay proportionately. Meaning, I have a wonderful group of people and a colleague in Nepal. There would be no way they could work on this with us in the sense of a Western society where many of us now live. And I said, why shouldn't these wonderful people have an opportunity to do this? And in the past, I've been in organizations where people from other countries have come to me and said, Rhonda, can't you ask the people at the main office in America to give us a higher discount because we can't afford to be in this group? And that always made me so sad, because I knew there were people who either couldn't come or had to make a very big sacrifice to be able to come and participate in things, and were bringing so much to the table, but after a while had said to me, well, Rhonda, I can't afford to come to this anymore. It's too expensive. And so I believe having this 4-tiered system where everybody pays according to their means, but on the outside, we're all paying tokens and it works so much better, is the only equitable way to make sure that everybody has a fair chance to be involved. I hope that explains what you were thinking about, Emma.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's good.
Any other questions or thoughts or great ideas?
No, I think I'm looking forward to this, Rhonda, a great deal, because I think having said that I don't really know quite what the centre is, or what whether we're wise or not, I do think that finding a way to help people to make their way past extremes, or the central way, the way of avoiding hype, avoiding excessive promises and misguided, misleading framing of information, views, and everything. I think if we can actually do something that actually does defend the middle, even though maybe we don't know where it is, or I don't know where it is, I think is incredibly valuable, because I think that, as you know, one of the ways I feel one can do that is through looking at our values and the values that we share, and that doesn't automatically mean that one avoids argument or even hostility, but it does mean that you see whatever your opposing views, you see the other side of the argument as human beings, and not as some sort of alien species, which can be what you tend to find when you look at sort of divisive speech, divisive postings we see on social media. So yeah, I think it's a well worthwhile journey, really, that we're embarking on. So I'm really looking forward to seeing where we go on it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Charles. You've been so supportive in this. I really appreciate that. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to share? As I said, either spoken or written in the chat if you prefer.
I'd like to ask about some, like,
Yes.
I mean, for me, like, my business is online based business. So, I mean, so Estonian, e-residency program could be best, I'm pretty sure. But there should be some sort of like a political issues or some sort of risk. I mean,
Let's put it this way. Estonia is part of the European Union. So if you see that as a risk, then yes, maybe you see that as a risk. But the Estonia has, as far as I know, unless I've missed something, this longest tradition of having companies digitally set up online. As I said, they've been doing this since 2014. I haven't found anywhere else in the world that's been doing it this long, number one. And a country that in and of itself is so peaceful. As I said, in 1992, they left the Soviet Union without anybody getting hurt or anybody getting killed or anything like that, and no big things in the news or whatever it was. And then the minute that happened, they started reaching out to people like me to come and help them because they wanted to make progress, because they knew that if they wanted to be integrated into the non-Soviet world, which was what they were looking to do, that many of their people needed an opportunity to learn to speak English better. And I went and worked in Estonia for a whole month just to help people learn English, because they understood the value of making sure that they got the chance to make progress in the new ways that they're doing things. That, number one, is what they've done with the digital world. When they separated from the Soviet Union, they never set up banks, for example, as buildings, as places where you could go to a branch of a bank. They did everything digitally from the beginning. And they took buses and drove them to all the little towns. I mean, Estonia isn't a big place. It's easy to do because it's a small landmass, but they drove a bus to all the little towns and taught everybody, also like grandmas and grandpas, how to do online banking. So they never needed to set up banks, for example, meaning very forward thinking. If you're familiar with Wise, originally Estonian, if you're familiar with Skype, originally Estonian. So this is a very progressive society that supports people in a very great way to be able to do these things online. And as an example, once the residency was set up, the fastest establishment of an online company in Estonia took 15 minutes and 33 seconds. It's not complex. They're very open to having everybody come. I've watched a video online that would be nice for us, Ian. A gentleman who was speaking said, "I'm American, but I live in Switzerland, and my business partner is American, but he lives in South Korea, and our company is registered in Estonia." So this is the way that they're already interacting with many, many people now. And therefore, thank you so much for joining us. Hope to see you again soon.
Soon. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. And as I said, I don't know who this is for. This isn't obviously for everybody. Nothing that's online is for everybody, obviously. But I'm hoping that we find a group of like-minded people who want to move forward with something like this. And as I said, I don't need to have this have 1 million followers overnight. That's not the kind of person I am, and that's nothing I've ever tried to do. But I do believe that there needs to be this place that the people like us can come together and do the things that are important to be supporting each other, both financially and by doing partnerships and by having places to talk to each other and by moving with what the world is bringing us. We're learning so much more about nature through artificial intelligence. For example, that whales, when they talk to each other, whales not only have songs, you maybe hear that, you hear recordings of whale songs, but now they've decided that when two whales talk to each other, they talk about a third whale that is not there. Meaning whales have names and whales have ways of referring to each other and all these things. We are learning so much that could help us as humans so much by looking at what's happening in nature, seeing how artificial intelligence can be supporting us. And I think it's time to have a place where all these things come together and help us move forward as humanity. And that's what I'm here to ask for your help and your support with, and you're doing that so well. And I really appreciate you taking the time to come today and to provide your insights. I'm going to share my screen once more for just a moment and show you two more things. As I said, I will be sending all of this to you after we finish. So first of all, I'd like to thank you for coming. And you'll be getting these with these links. So many of you already know about the Alliance that are home at the moment until we get everything established is on LinkedIn. I have also made up a survey so that if after a couple of days you want to think through some things and you'd like to make comments or ask any other questions, you can do that here. If you're willing to support the Alliance financially by making a donation, there is a place to do that. And if people don't have the time to think about what is the whole thing, there is a one-page PDF that gives a basic overview of everything that we discussed today, just on one page, that makes it much easier for people. And going forward, because I've seen how many people in the moment are struggling with a lot of things with AI and how to bring that into the human intelligence, and because I think that's such an important thing, as many of you know, I've spent the last 2 summers in Geneva at the United Nations AI for Good Summit. So within the Alliance, I'm going to have a new group called the Co-Creative Advisory Practice. And to get that started and to help the Alliance move forward, I've put in these things, and you'll be able to click on them when you see them in the things that I send you later. This is a place for people to come together as a small group, as we have today. Charles and I have been doing this with World Values Day, where people can come and say, oh, I would like to know more about AI, or I would like help with this, or I don't know how this works, where we can just come together and you bring a group of people and we all look at this and see how it works. On the other hand, if you or someone you know is really struggling with AI and would like individual support, the second link is for a place to get 3 or 6 or 12 months of support. And if you or someone you refer signs up for that because you've been here today, I will add an extra month to whatever the program is that the people ask. If you think somebody would be interested in this, but they have no idea yet who I am because I haven't had the pleasure of meeting them yet, I have a bio that explains a little bit about support. And I have the other introductory offers that I'm setting up for the advisory practice that have a variety of things. And so I will be sharing those with you in an email later when we finish the call. But I just wanted to say that as a thank you, to also give you the support. Many of you don't need support with things like AI. I realize that, but I know most of us probably know somebody who could use some support or is looking for answers to questions. And that's what I would love to do because, as I said, as the possibilities lady, that's what I would like to help bring to the world. And anybody you know who needs that kind of support, please feel free to share when I send the things to you afterwards as an email. Does anybody have any closing thoughts or questions or comments they'd like to make?
So basically, like I said, I've been trying to pursue very affordable international school level education. So this is online based. So anyone, if there's anyone who is interested in, it's sort of like a partnership with me. I mean, I'm open to it. So it's a very affordable. So it is very meaningful in terms of like making a great impact on the world. Education is, I really think it's sort of like religion. Everybody needs this, and this is how people and students can upgrade their own life themselves. And I really think I've been developing this over 7 years. 7 years. I have integrated all my experiences and knowledge, and recently I've got lots of good partners, like internationally and even in my own country recently, luckily. So I'll if there's something good opportunities, I'll just share this kind of information with you guys. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And if you'd like to put your details in the chat, how people can reach out to you, Ian, then people can, I don't know if you have an email address or LinkedIn or what's best for you, you can add that to the chat. Okay,
think-
thank you very
I
much.
mean, if we could like share our LinkedIn like links, I think we could add each other as friends. I think that could be I think wonderful.
Very good.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
think
I'll do-
I think all of you are followers of the Alliance on LinkedIn, so that would be a place you could all go and find each other
Yeah.
first of all as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
very good. Anyone else have any closing words of wisdom they'd like to share? Thank you, Ian.
Well done, Rhonda. You put a lot of energy into this, and you've been very generous with your time, and you're helpful with all sorts of issues people have come to you with. I know, so I just thank you very much for that. Really.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd echo that as well. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for the invite.
Thank you, Emma. Thank you,
Yeah.
Stephanie, for putting that in the chat. Very nice, and hoping that sometime we'll all be back here in a similar setting again, maybe not just with us, but with some other people as well. Maybe some of those who joined us yesterday or others who will be joining us tomorrow. During the end of the year, once things get established in Estonia, that's going to be one of the next things to actually figure out how we want to make sure we get opportunities to be together and to work on these things. And as we go along, I will just, all of you are on my email list, so you'll be getting the updates as we go along, or there'll be things on the LinkedIn page. And as soon as something is really there that we need, then we'll be fine. And this is somebody, hold on one second. For my next group. Somebody whose Firefly was very early. Okay. So I really appreciate it. And as I said, give me a couple of minutes after the next group to send out an email to you with all of those links and everything, so you don't have to worry about it, and a chance to share with others. And as I said, this will only work. Thank you, Stephanie, for your email address. This will only work if we really have the chance to make sure that more and more people come, and we find a way to make it work so that everybody feels that they have a place within the Alliance that feels good to them as part of the society. And I'm looking forward to all the wonderful contributions that all of you will be able to make, and how we'll co-create something better for the future. Thank you so much for your support. I appreciate it.
Thank you all. Thanks.
Okay.
See ya.
Thanks very much, Rhonda.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.